Clements Homebrew, coming at you with a beer review. What's that sound? It's like water draining. Oh, it's April. It's the big check that I wrote to the federal government. Yeah, United States Treasury. Oh, that was painful. That's right. I decided to have a beer review rather than commit suicide. So here it is. It is the Bourbon Barrel Cavatica Stout, the 2015 from Fort George Brewery out of Astoria, Oregon. That's right. This is a big old barrel-aged Imperial Stout at 9.9% ABV. Now, they get the barrels, they put the regular Cavatica Stout into bourbon barrels for about 9 months. They come in and they're fresh barrels from Willet Bourbon barrels from Bardstown, Kentucky. Now, that's a mouthful right there. Let's get this one cracked open and give it a try. All right, we gave her a pour. We've got a 2-finger head on that puppy. This is nearly black. I would say it's a really deep brown and quite the caramel head on there. Nice and creamy looking at that. Let's get a nose on it. Oh, that's interesting. It's got some of that barrel scent, and this is warmed up. I've let it warm up, but it has kind of that ethyl, a bit of that ethyl kind of smell, and almost the smell of like steel tanks, which is kind of odd when you're expecting like these nice rich bourbon aromas. I get a little bit of like the wood note, a bit of the like some dark chocolate on there, a hint of molasses on it, a hint of vanilla, but I'm saying hints on those. These aren't strong. A hint of some coffee on there. The nose isn't real strong. Now, one thing I gotta say is the Cavatica Stout's an interesting stout. It's a really dark stout with like almost like a lot of licorice, but very dark, very macabre, smells like Halloween kind of a thing. So we're gonna jump in on this along with the frog over there and see how it tastes. Cheers. Well, the taste is much better than nose. I'll tell you that. Much, much better. It's a little thin, but if they truly just took regular Cavatica Stout and put it on barrels, it would definitely thin the beer down. But some really good flavors. You've got some nice molasses on there, a hint of some nuttiness on there, almost like hazelnut. Some burnt notes on that, a little bit of that licorice on there. Roast, definitely got your roast in there. And of course, you do have the bourbon flavor on there. This is a tough review. I'm competing with a helicopter that's for some reason circling, and a frog, and the water fountain. You get some caramel and some burnt caramel type flavors on there. Very interesting. But it really, now the undertones are really coming through of the standard Cavatica Stout, which, as I said, it is just a dark, macabre type black stout. I'm going to take a little time with this, and I'll come back with some conclusions. I've taken a little time with this, and what can I say? In the end, it is Cavatica Stout. And, you know, Cavatica Stout's fairly good, but I'm not a huge fan. It just has those really, as I call them, dark, macabre flavors. It really does. It's kind of unique bitterness to it and everything else. And that's still there. That is the base beer. The barrel aging, I picked up more as I first opened it up. As it's warmed, kind of the effects of the bourbon barrel age has kind of died back on it. Some of that character is definitely there, but as I say, you do in the end up with Cavatica Stout. It's a good beer. It's a very good beer, I should say, but it's not an excellent beer. I'm going to put it right at the top of the very good category. Although I find it a little disappointing. I'd had high hopes for it being better than that, but I'm going to give it an 89. It's a very nice beer. Overall, you know I'm a huge stout fan. I mean, and I love barrel-aged stouts. You know I do. But I'm going to keep it right there. It's an 89. Just straight across. It's very good. It's not excellent, but a fun beer indeed. Here it is. It's the Bourbon Barrel Cavatica Stout, the 2015. Life's too short, folks, to drink cheap beer, and I'll see you on the next beer review.